everybody, it is Dan, the podcast man, also the home buyer man, if you haven't noticed, safety man, if you haven't noticed. I know, product placement, that's what I'm about. Safety man, so I got multiple outlets, multiple names. But here today, I have a wonderful guest. Her name is Lizzy Loans, and she is a mortgage banker.
Hi, everyone. Dan gave me a great intro. So my handle's Lizzy Loans. My real name is Liz Persaud, but Lizzy Loans is cool. I stuck with that. I think it's catchy. It's easy to remember, and it's reference to loans. I am a mortgage banker with Meadowbrook Financial here in Long Island, Westbury.
Awesome.
Glad to be here, Dan.
Of course.
Want to be on the podcast. Been seeing what you got going on.
Well, thank you. Well, I wanted you on here because we have worked together, and I think Liz has such an incredible story, a wonderful background when it comes to actually, I believe, personality traits of really honing in on people and figuring out what they need and service them correctly. I think you really have found this wonderful niche in doing that, and that's why I'm sticking with you when it comes to a lot of my banking, and you make it so easy for me, by the way. I'm just letting you, of course. But we got to ask the question: where did Lizzy Loans come from? How did that happen? How? Come on, we can go into my nickname, but a lot of people, I don't feel like doing that. But I want to hear yours.
All right, so you got a brand. You have to have a brand. You have to brand yourself. No one's gonna know who you are. You know, you could just have your name out there, but I just felt that it was just easy to remember, Lizzy Loans, and it just was right to the point. Liz does loans. So how else can you remember? You can't forget. And you might meet someone and you might say, hey, their name's Elizabeth, their name's Liz. Okay, yeah. What does she do? So I think the catchiness and
of course
just the branding is a big factor in, remembering, and it's just fun. It's just fun.
Absolutely. You gotta listen. If you're gonna brand something, and what I've noticed, I think I'm having too much fun. I think people agree. I am the garbage man now. I am the I'm trying to close on this other property that's on the street on Cypress, so it could be Dan the Cypress man.
But you're having fun. It's fun.
Hell yeah. What I like about your name too, your Instagram handle is so good because it's short. It's like, I'm so picky when I was trying to make mine, when I made Dan the home buyer man, I'm like, oh my God, this thing is massive. This thing is so long. I really did not like it, and I'm glad I rebranded it. I shorted it the way it was, because I love clean cut. Like, I hate extra letters and then zeros and numbers. I'm very particular when it comes to a username, and when your name pops up, it's like nice and clean, professionalism. It's like boom. It's like, oh, I want to dial in. Like, what is going on?
Like simple, right? Like LL, just short and sweet and right to the point.
Of course.
It's just, the name, what she does, boom, and it really has worked.
Of course.
It's really worked for me. People recognize me by Lizzy Loans versus my real name, or just I went to Triple Play last year. It's a real estate conference in Atlantic City.
Okay.
Usually every year in December.
Is that something you normally go to now?
Here and there. I don't go every year, but when it's in the winter, it's a good networking. If you want to expand your business, there's all types of industries in the real estate market or real estate community, like just everything. You have investors, you have real estate agents, you have attorneys, you have, just beyond real estate related things. And it's a good way to get out there in the tri-state area. And there's just things to do in the winter, I guess,
I didn't even get into your backstory. You're already hustling. I didn't get into your backstory. You're already hustling, because I was going to ask you, like, how'd you get into all this? But right now, I kind of want to stick on the topic of the branding and the name and how important it is. Yeah, like, I think ultimately that's how I remember you. But at this conference, do you put Lizzy Loans? I mean, come on. Do you, on your name, like on your?
So I'm not as aggressive with but I do have to be. I was thinking of doing hoodies and like a hat. Yeah, I was thinking doing hoodies and a hat, because even just being it on social media, I think it's important to have, like, just like how you
Yeah.
just, introduced yourself. Hey, I have the cup, I have the podcast, I have the signs. It does stick and it does get more recognition. And I think it's all about, like, if you see it, you're gonna know it. If you see it, oh, I remember. Oh yeah, I have this deal. Maybe I should give her a call, or hey, I know her, or just it can strike a conversation. You could be at a supermarket. Oh, you know Lizzy Loans? I know her too. So it just
But
really.
but what's really you're mentioning a few good things about the merchandise, and I'm gonna make merchandise for everybody. The funny thing about merchandise for me was like, will people buy it? Will people wear it?
That's the thing, like committing to the logo. I'm like, do I want it with black and white? Do I want it with a house? Do I want it with money, like a dollar, like the dollar sign?
There's a lot. There's a
So it
lot.
just gets like, I have to take the time because this is going to be a forever thing.
This this logo here took me so long until I got the right person to do it. It was a friend of mine, and he fucking killed it. He killed it. When I saw this thing, and I was like, wow. I was like, that's it. I went through so much branding, and it took a long time to actually hone in and figure. I think that ultimately takes time. So I think, and what's cool too now is that I do have the old logos. So as I progress into the future, because this is it, I'm not moving from this. This is on my car now. This is on my truck. I'm not moving away from this. Yeah, and obviously that little house, I've transpired it into a crane for safety on here, and then for the podcast, I got the mic. But ultimately, if my friend did not make this logo, I would not have the branding I would have today, without a doubt. So I think it's so important. It will take time. It will take time, and I think you're absolutely gonna be cool. Like the two L's. There's so many ways, like, or two L's that go like opposite directions. And one, like, I'm really creative with that. But like, I was trying to make a joke. I was going to make a joke. I was really honing in on this joke. It was you said, "Oh, do I want sweaters?" Right? You ever hear like the term like sweater weather? Like, yeah. Come on. It could be that time of the year, full time. It could be sweater weather. And I'm just like, hold on. I throw on a Lizzy Loans shirt on, and I'm like, wait a minute. I haven't spoken to her, and I have a deal going on. Maybe I should use her. But it's just like, it's all placement. It's just like you can never know. Like, you probably didn't hear from somebody for like a year, and it becomes sweater weather, and you gave them that sweatshirt, and they're like, oh my God, I forgot about Liz. And now I didn't, because now I ultimately remember because of her name.
Exactly. It could be that car trunk sweater, and you're like, oh, wait, I got to give her a call, So who knows?
100%. I give a call. I mean, you. I really have to highlight a bunch of stuff about you. You are definitely, you're first of all part of my professional team. When I talk about professional team, and what I mean by that is, who is in my court when it comes to real estate? Who's in my corner when it comes to certain things? And you're in my corner financially when it comes to loans. And I think it's very important to highlight that, because I went through a lot of mortgage bankers and financial people where I was left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, I've heard that story before.
Yeah.
I personally, I know you want to get into the highlights, but the background of me getting into the mortgage industry actually is because I was looking to get pre-approved for my investment property, and the guy that helped me out was just very dry, very, I guess, just wasn't creative. Maybe didn't even know what other products were out there. Pre-COVID, this was actually like 1 year before COVID.
So it was nice. So let's.
So it was like 2019, beginning of 2020, right before COVID. And I got pre-approved. I was looking for an investment property upstate, trying to be an investor. And I got in contact with this guy. I was so excited. It was my first time.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, great. Teach me. Yeah. Credit report. Okay. You're an adult. You're getting your foot wet. You're having these conversations. And the guy just gave me the pre-approval and just was, hey, here you go. Didn't explain anything. Told me what the DTI was. Told me, verified, the basic things. And I guess I just saw that, or felt that maybe it was just him. Like, he just wasn't creative. He didn't know what other products and programs were out there. Maybe it was just my luck that I got a guy that was just very, hey, I'm a cookie cutter guy. I only know conventional investment property, or, a second home or a primary home. And now the market, now getting into it, I know all the loan products are out there. Like he could have referenced me, hey, why don't you try hard money? Hey, why don't you try this investment loan or this, creative financing, a non-QM product? So the fact that he didn't really suggest or open the door, kind of, I felt that. I was like, I don't think this guy is doing me any good. And then I did.
Did you feel that you felt that during that process?
Yeah,
Oh, so
like
you were just getting that vibe and that, like,
exactly.
yeah, okay.
I'm just an intuitive person in general.
Yeah, of course.
And
I
I
know.
just said, you know what, I got to do my due diligence. And I went online and I taught myself more things than the guy taught me. And I was like, listen, maybe I can do this. I can teach myself. I can teach other people. And coming from that story and being here with you now and hearing how I've impacted you,
Yeah.
everything is full circle. And it's amazing that you're saying that, because I felt that and I'm glad to be that for somebody else, because no one was like that for me.
Isn't that so fucking cool?
Yeah.
It really is. So I'm telling you what I went through and what my problems were. You went through that and you're like, well, if I'm going to get into something, no, it is true. If I'm going to get into something, I'm going to give it my all. And that's what I see from you. I see, do I know about hard money? I do. I'm an investor. I know these things. But you still sit there and say, hey, Dan, well, there's a hard money product, or, well, not necessarily hard money, but I'm just saying with the loans, with the conventional and everything, you're just going on this route of saying, well, you can do this and you could do that. And you're just filling me with knowledge and information, but stuff that I knew. But then you tell me that, and then you fill in these gaps where I'm like, I thought I knew, but you don't. You don't. I don't. I'm not a financial banker. I am not in that world where you probably have your finger on the pulse and need to know these products, because ultimately you get a person in front of you, you got to know how to sell the product to them. And I don't want to say sell, but
Right.
provide the services, say, hey, this is what's out there, and you know the ins and outs of that.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Right.
I mean,
I like to problem solve. So if you're telling me something and I see, hey, Dan, why don't you try it this way?
Yeah.
Like I like to troubleshoot and reverse engineer things and talk about it.
That's a good
just
term.
to talk about it. And then you can say, you know what? I can ask my other investor friend what he did. That sounds familiar. Oh yeah, why don't we go that way? So
yes.
just talking about it and talking about it with people that know their stuff or have the experience, like you may say, you know what, Liz, that's a good idea. Like we've had conversations and you're like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to touch base on that. You know what, maybe it works for me. Hey, Dan, what about this program? Did you try that? Do you have enough for this? Or that's really what I do. I try to, be creative in the financing and fit you to the best loan program. And we've been successful. So.
Oh, 100%. And that's one of the things I really wanted to highlight is the educational tool that you provide. And me as an investor always I have to remind myself, I do not know what the hell I'm doing. Let me be clear on that. I don't know what I'm doing. Not entirely. But realistically, I've been saying this. I have people that I put in my life. I have a CPA. I have a guy shooting my podcast. I got James over here. But I hire people for their job roles because that's their expertise. I am not going to sit there and learn how to run a podcast studio. I'm not going to sit there and learn about taxes. I'm not going to sit there because I have other things that I want to focus on that are more important to me, where I know where my strengths are. My strengths are not numbers. They're just not. And I'm an investor. How can I say that as an investor? But it's true. But I don't want that to deter anybody from saying, oh, I can't invest, I'm not good at numbers. I suck at math. I'm lucky I passed the math regents in New York State. I did. I don't know how I did. But ultimately, you got to hone in on the people. You got to hone in on the people that is going to make you successful. And then for me, that's who you are for that. Now, I know I said a bunch of stuff.
Thanks, Dan.
Of course. Of course. Are you feeling good? Are you feeling more relaxed?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just you. We'll give James some credit,
Yeah, we'll give James some credit. But I want to. So what I want to do now, what I want to take where we're going with all this. Yeah, we're talking a lot about financial stuff, but we could talk about that all day. So 1999.
I'm like, wait, 2019?
I told you I'm bad at math. Didn't I tell you I was bad at math?
It's good. Showing now. It's showing now.
My wife is convinced I'm dyslexic and I'm refusing to go get tested. And then she's like, you really need to fix this because I say everything backwards. I think backwards. And somehow I don't know how I managed a real estate investment company. I hope everything's going well.
No, like you said, you you have your systems in place and you
I
have
just
your
made a
people
mistake right in front of you.
and you have your people.
Yeah.
And I think that's a very important thing to have. And people try to cut corners or not pay
Of
people
course.
or, not have people do their job, but then they're learning the hard way and they're falling and they could fail. But sometimes hiring a real estate agent, talking to a mortgage broker, or not, using somebody that you don't know is reputable, or
Yeah, of course.
know their business. Your business is your business. As far as like career, like if you like you're a doctor, you want a doctor, you need a surgeon, you need surgery, go to a surgeon. You're not going
I'm
to
not gonna go to the vet, am I?
right, exactly. Well,
It's
yeah, they do surgery too, but still, it's not the same. Like it's just you want to stay. People that have the tools and the right systems in place to be successful and get you to the finish line is who you want to align with.
There's so many things I'm going to highlight with you, but I want to take this where I originally was, and I'll get the correct year now where I wanted to go with you on the story. So it's 2019. What were you doing, like professionally? What career were you working?
So before I got into the mortgage industry to teach myself about the loan programs and be an investor myself,
Yeah.
my background actually is physical therapy. So yeah, I came from the medical field. Well,
By
two
the
things
way,
about me.
I must have spent at least about a good. So I know Liz about. I'm looking directly at the camera. I know Liz about maybe 3 years now. Okay, we have like an hour-long conversation overall about life.
At a time,
At a
like an
time,
hour
yeah,
conversation.
yeah, yeah. And we spend, obviously what my plan is, and can you help me? And she does, and she has definitely put in the work, and as me as going to her. But how the hell am I now just fucking hearing about this?
So growing up, I loved math and I loved science. So physical therapy, science, right? Body, muscles, mechanics.
Wow.
Yeah. And then,
Where have I been?
well, listen, we talk about life in general. We talk
we
about
talk-
our music. We talk about loans. We talk about numbers. We talk about real estate. We talk about music. What else? A little bit of everything. But I guess I never really talked about it because I guess maybe I saved it for today. I don't know.
Good. Well, great. I think this is awesome because now I'm getting excited because now I'm just going to learn this whole portion of you. So physical therapy?
So physical therapy.
Okay.
I was doing that. I graduated in 2010, physical
Where?
therapist assistant, Nassau Community College.
Okay.
Graduated very young. I've been doing it since 2010. So it's been 15 years. So as you work, you get burnt out of a certain job. I'm sure your construction job, it's a lot of wear and tear in your body. This we talk about, right?
We have talked about this.
So I'm like, listen, I felt like I had a bigger purpose. And then I wanted to get into real estate. I saw some, family getting into it. I saw some friends getting into it. I'm like, I want to, see what's out there, see what I qualify for. I have a decent amount of assets. I have, the credit score. I knew the basics, but I never got pre-approved. And that kind of fast forwards to that story of me calling the banker at a small bank upstate because that was where I was looking at the time.
Where were you looking upstate?
I was looking in Walton, actually.
I have never heard of this
because
place.
I always wanted a cabin. Like I love nature. Listen, I'm from Long Island. I live in Long Beach.
You're from Long Island.
Long Island, yeah.
I just want to make sure we're clear.
I live in Long Beach, but I do still love nature. Like I love the mountains. I love the trees. So I always said I wanted to have a little getaway
Hell yeah.
to go upstate and have the cabin and the fire and
That's so cool.
the snow. Like in the winter, you have a
Yeah, no,
getaway.
I'm
You want to
just- I'm
go
just loving the- I'm loving-
snowmobiling. I've never done snowmobiling, by the way, but I said, listen, if I want to go on the mountain or what do they call it? Whitewater rafting or tubing. I said, I want to have an upstate getaway.
Sweet.
So I said, I want to look for my property now where I can live now and set that up for maybe my 5, 10, 20-year plan.
And you've been living in Long Beach at this time. You still live in Long Beach.
I'm in Long Beach.
But you're still living there as you're looking for the cabin.
Well, that was, 2019, correct. So I'm
Okay.
thinking long term, hey, I could work on my own project.
Yeah.
So Walton, I loved
Walton,
it. They
I gotta look it
they
up.
had a little history there. I think they have like the festival. They have a big they have a very big state festival there that's like very famous. I don't know. Walton State
It's not
Festival.
famous. Well, it's not famous in my eyes. Or maybe I'm just
I
that
didn't know about it
stupid.
either, but the real estate agent that I connected with, and she was great. I forgot her name because it was so long ago. But there's a lot of untapped potential up there. But the life is very different up there. But listen, you never know. Things are changing, things are shifting. Look at where we are now. Then and now, where I've grown and what I know and who I know and my, just my network in general and just everything is just beyond crazy how far, from where I started to where I am and what I know now. So, and even being with you, like working with you and meeting you and connecting with you and helping you to your goals, I think that gives me more gratitude to say, hey, I'm a part of Dan's journey. I'm creating my journey. Dan's a part of my journey in a way, but I'm a part of his journey also.
You 100% are, because I remember when on Instagram, I got a message from you, a DM from you. You're like, "Hey, I would love to network." I'm just like, "What?" Yeah, I'm always, well, honest to God, like it was the beginning stages of me in real estate investing, and people saw that, oh man, Dan's looking to buy houses, but you spent a good amount of time earning my trust. And you are ultimately handling you're handling a big financial transaction for me. I have to,
100%.
to trust you.
Absolutely.
If I can't trust you, like ultimately, here's a crap ton of money, and then I get a printout saying, well, this isn't what the person promised me.
It happens a lot. And I've got some business like that. People are just not happy with their loan officer. They don't answer their phone, or they've lied, or they said one thing and they did another, or, they just weren't happy with their first experience. They're like, I gotta find someone new. And I'm like, wow, listen, it's more common than you think. So, thank you for highlighting that about me.
This is what I want you to ask me. Ask me this question.
Okay.
All right, you ready? How was your experience working with me, Dan? Ask that question to me.
Okay.
Go.
How was your experience working with me? So,
for the record, you want to know how it was working with Lizzy? Liz? Okay. I'm in contract for this potential rental property, and she messages me and goes, "Listen, Dan, I'm not going to be around. I'm going to be on vacation." I'm like, "Okay, listen, people got to take vacation, but no, I'm going to be there." I'm like, "No. Go enjoy your vacation." No, Dan, I'm serious. I'm like, okay, like everybody gives me this story. Yeah. I'm like, this girl called me from Tulum to confirm like everything is going well. I'm like, what? I know where she is. She told me she's in Mexico, she's in Tulum. And you could tell me whatever you want, by the way. I'm in the hotel room, because we have downtime and all this stuff. But listen, most people, if they go on vacation, that phone is either buried, but you even thought about changing your cell phone service because you were having a tough time communicating with people because you're getting frustrated that you couldn't talk to. But that's the level. That's a different level. That's a hustle level. Yeah. That's a level where you can't. Oh, you know what you should do? Like tell somebody, oh, you should call people while you're on vacation. No, that is values, core, and your hustle game, by the way. So
I just feel if I tell someone something, first I had a pipeline of deals. So I always want to make people feel comfortable. Like you can't ghost people. If I tell you I want to be communicative, there were heavy transactions and little minor things that came up that we were facing. And I just said, I want to make sure that Dan knows I'm here. Mexico, I did have the Wi-Fi every morning. I delegated like the first 2-3 hours in the morning to get my calls and just to give you that, hey, like I got your emails. I see what's going on. We're on schedule for this. Just to give you that extra, hey, you were good. But sometimes the little, extra goes a long way.
It absolutely does. So. And I think people fall so short on that little extra. I'm not telling people to message me while they're on vacation, by the way. That's not what I'm getting at. What I'm saying is that you put in that little extra work. And that really spoke in many volumes. I ultimately didn't want you messaging me while you're on vacation. I wanted you to enjoy your vacation, but it's not in the mentality of a hustler. It's not in the mentality of an entrepreneur. It's not in the mentality of somebody saying, I believe in real estate. I believe building my brand. I'm building all this stuff. And if this person is going to trust me, they're going to trust me. And yes, I'm going to take valuable personal time away from me to make sure I'm showing them that. And you're probably not even saying all this stuff in your head, by the way. I know you're not, but you're just doing it because you can't create that. It's embedded in you. Yep. It's part of who you are.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, I told Dan, I want to make it a point to, acknowledge that I'm not just, lost in the beach, no
No,
service.
when you said, by the way, when you first said that and I got on the phone with you the first go around, I was just like,
I remember you told me, you're like, Liz, don't call me. I'm like, damn, why wouldn't I call you? I'm gonna be
I'm
enjoying.
serious.
Yeah, like I can still be, committed to, hey, giving that, I'm not saying we're gonna be on the phone like we normally, like an
No,
hour,
no, no, no.
but
I
that
know.
5 minute
Yeah.
makes a difference.
And it did.
Hey, and we were watching the market at the time. I even had another deal. I was watching a rate lock at the time. The rates went down. I had my laptop.
Yeah.
If I brought my laptop, I'm gonna expect to do a little work. So it didn't, like you said, it's in you. You either have it or you don't. So
100%. And oh man, it's quite remarkable. But let's hone back in on your story
Sure.
with the whole cabin thing. So we're in the cabin. Well, we're not in the cabin. Did we get the cabin?
no, I ended up doing a inspection.
Okay.
And I happened to get really lucky because the guy that was an inspector, he worked up in Albany, and he was like a code guy. Like he was
So code enforcement.
yeah.
Code
So he had
enforcer.
that job before,
So you know
and
exactly
at
what
that
he's
point I
looking
was
for.
learning. I'm like, oh, what's that? He's
Yeah.
like, I know what's supposed to be what laws came in that, and you have to have this. So I ended up getting the inspection done. I stumbled upon him. I'm like, wow, this is a blessing. This is great. Who would end up having an inspector? Listen, an inspector could just go there and do their job and leave.
100%.
He was so beyond. I said, wow, what a comparison. I had a mortgage guy that was
Wow. Oh yeah,
so
you're right.
vanilla, so
Yeah.
basic. And then I'm like, wow, I have this guy. Wow, this is my type of people. So he was a code guy before, and he said he did the inspection. Obviously, that's his job. And we had a conversation after, and he said, Liz, if I were you, and I was a first time investor, I would not buy this property. They had
You're not
foundation
prepared for that.
issues. There was just certain codes weren't up to date. There was a crack there was mold that the guy tried to paint over.
Oh, that's
So
wonderful.
I was like, really?
Painted
So
mold.
this is all new for me. Yeah, white paint. He was like, come on, can you be more obvious? This guy had fresh white paint.
Should have used bleach, right?
Like
My mold
fresh,
guy's gonna
he's
go
like,
be all
come
over
on,
this.
who are you tricking here? What am I supposed to do? Snap a picture? And he saw me, and I guess he felt for me because he's like, I'm a first time investor.
So let me ask you this: you're doing this all by yourself?
I had my aunt; she was helping me.
Okay, I just wanted to
drove
see-
up there. We looked at a few areas. We looked at
Okay.
a few houses. We had a couple things in mind, and we did our due diligence. You have to run your ROIs. You have to run your numbers. You have
What's
to
an
run.
ROI?
It's a return on investment.
Yeah, no.
So-
The reason I bring it up is just so the audience understands.
Absolutely.
So you're
So-
looking for that.
So you want to know how much money you're putting out,
Of course.
and you want to know how much money factoring in all the expenses, and what is it going to cost you, and what are you going to make in the annual? Like in the end, like is it worth an investment, or is it a long term? Is it a hold? Is it a flip? Like I could have bought it and flipped it to someone else. I could have bought it, and I wanted to keep it, but overall, I just didn't want to take on the responsibilities. I needed a new roof. There was a crack in the foundation. The guy
that's way
was
too much for a new
trying to get
investor.
it off his hand. And I thank God I got out of that sucker-free first-time investor, awful nightmare. So that was how I got into the loan. Like it was just so many things. Like I know exactly where you're coming from when you say, Liz, like I don't know what I'm doing, because every day is a learning experience. Every phone call, every person you talk to, you're learning something from.
It was like even like one of my potential deals was seller financing, and it had nothing to do with would you benefit from seller financing? Would you benefit from? No, it's me dealing directly with the seller. But you sat there and you're like, and I gave you the numbers, and I know it's dinner time, but you really ran the numbers with me just to hold my hand with that, because I ultimately didn't know how to figure it out, and you're like. And we spent time in it, and then the next day, it's that. And I think also what also happened to you, and always correct me if I'm wrong, but ultimately you had such a weird experience with that mortgage person in the beginning, that first mortgage person, and now you dealt with the code enforcer. So you got two worlds at the same time with one deal, not a deal, a potential
deal,
investment, where you saw, wait a minute, this guy's watching out for me.
Right. This guy went above and beyond
Yeah.
and said, hey, if this was me, side note, he said, Liz, I'm an inspector. I gave you the report. You gave me a service. You asked for a service. I delivered it to you. But a side conversation, if I was a first-time investor, I wouldn't buy this house.
And I know it's like we try to be, what I like to say, I know in your industry, the financial industry, real estate agents, we have to be careful in what we say and what we do.
Right.
Because ultimately we can get in trouble.
Right.
And sometimes it might, and I'm not saying you to go do the wrong thing. This wasn't the wrong thing. The guy ultimately went to you on, and like sidebar, like, I'm not telling you what to do, but
Right.
this is my suggestion. And when people come from the heart, it's completely different.
Right.
It's not a malicious way I'm trying to tell you. Here's a person trying to put their money,
Right.
and he values that. He values your money and values your time, and saying, this person can't get involved in this. And I think ultimately we have to do that, but sometimes like, oh, but we really can't. But then it's like, well, fuck that. I'm gonna make sure that person knows that information, because I couldn't go to sleep at the end of the night knowing the fact that you completed that transaction, and you could have been really handled and completely turned you off from real estate.
Real estate in general.
100%. That will destroy most people. That will destroy them and take them right out.
It could scare them, and if I would have bought it, or then I would have learned even more, and I would have already been involved. And you know, one thing with real estate too, and I'm sure you know this on the investor side, you always want to have an exit strategy. So
100%.
obviously you want to, sell it, try to get back your money, because sometimes some deals are a loss. Some deals you don't always make money, but that's where you have to do your due diligence and check the property, pay a little bit to know if you're going to make a little bit. So that's where I shelled out the $600 for the inspection to say, is this going to really be worth $13,000 at the end of the year when I have to put a new roof? I don't live close by. I have to have a repair guy. Rents are low. So I learned a lot from that experience just walking away. So
of course. So how did that transpire from you to go be a mortgage banker?
So with that same pre-approval, I said, wow, what else is out there? So then I ended up reaching out to some colleagues that I saw were in the industry, and just started asking questions. And like I said, just doing my due diligence. I ended up doing the 20-hour course, and I studied, because it's not something you don't need, like you don't go to school for. I guess you can buy like a course, or like anything you can buy.
But
like
this is ultimately,
right.
Ultimately you have, it's a course. It's a course.
It's course based. Some people need more studying tools than others. And I was able to, teach myself. And
how'd you teach yourself?
I just studied. I made flashcards. I'm kind of very organized, a little nerdy. I am a little
really
on the nerdy, geeky side. Yeah. So I do love math, and
Lizzy
I love science.
Nerd? No, we're not. Do not say that. Do not catch that name on. Go on.
So I did highlight things and organize things and made index cards, took them with me everywhere I went, studied. I did end up joining like a study group, and I bought a practice exam. Yeah, I bought a few practice exams.
How was the study group?
The study group was really helpful because it made me accountable. We
Good.
showed up every
Bingo.
week.
Yep.
Like, hey, 5 o'clock on Friday night.
You're gonna meet here.
Right, Friday night, let's quiz each other. Or hey, let's
go.
quiz. Yeah.
We're all
things
after the
that
same
you're
thing.
studying that they're not studying, or they're studying and you're not studying. So I did that a little extra and beyond, because I'm coming from a medical background, and then I went from real estate. So
and you have a medical background.
Yeah.
That is no joke. And it was a series of tests. I mean, getting to a certain level, schooling. Me in my professional career, I've taken multiple exams. New York City, multiple New York City exams. I'm board certified by the United States, so I've taken board exams. And I am a terrible, horrible test taker. I'm horrendous, but I know myself better and how I can achieve that. Like you mentioned something, because I'm actually let me say it right this time, and I don't have to cut it. I am a certain type of instructor regarding construction. I just can't use the term, but I am that type of instructor. And for me, when I was teaching my students, as I was teaching for the last 4 months prior to now the position that I'm in now, I would everybody's like, well, how do you become the safety manager for New York City? How's the test? Everybody's like, do you have the list of answers? I'm like, yeah, I got the list of answers. I ain't giving it to you. They're like, what? Dan, just give us the answers so we can study for this test. I'm like, I'm going to tell you right now. I'm going to tell you how to study for this test. You're going to take this book. You're going to take a book. All right, this is the code book. You're going to read this book. You're going to read it forwards and backwards. And when you're done, you're going to read it again. You're going to highlight. And then as you highlight, you're going to write notes down. And I'm obsessed with notebooks, organization, and keeping things. That's how I retain information. I think that was such a good thing to highlight about how you were, people that maybe be encouraged to become a mortgage banker is like, I'm not good at taking tests, but this is the strategy. You joined a study group and you're quizzing each other, and now you have this system in place. But keep going. Let's
Yeah.
where does this unravel?
So you took the test, taught myself, but I think just it teaches you the simple, the basic, the laws, but really diving in, like they're not teaching you the loan products. They're just teaching you the
Yep.
generic stuff,
Yep.
which like any other industry, you learn the generic stuff, but once you get out in the field, you're really learning, which is what I wanted to do. I wanted to learn. I wanted to figure out what the programs are, and help people that want to be first-time investors, want to be home buyers, whatever their journey is, whatever that is, real estate, being creative.
I love the term. I love the fact that you do use. I don't think it's. I'm going to be honest, just to say it this way. I don't think it's corny. I love the fact that you use journey. I really do love that term. When you make life into such a, oh, this is my career. This is like, or this is going to be what's going to make me money. But when you phrase it as a journey, it becomes a more better experience. It doesn't have to be so daunting. Like, I think we use such terms, and I am so sold on terms like that. All the corny terms, and everybody, and like some people, I feel like I make them cringe when I say certain things. But I do love when you say journey, because yeah, like if you look at it, that's the process. And saying, oh, getting my mortgage becoming a mortgage banker is this thing you got to do in this process. It's just like, ooh, but no, but there's so much more elements that's involved that
Definitely.
might uplift other people. And it just sounds like I personally love when you phrase things in that way. It's so, I'm down with it. All right. That's
Oh, good to know, because being a numbers person, like numbers don't lie. It's either it works or it doesn't. And
Really?
being good at
Believe it or
math,
not, yes.
I'm like, what? It's simple. It's either yes or it works or
You
it
can't
doesn't.
say that to me.
Right?
You can't say that to me.
So I'm like, all right.
Well, no,
like
yes,
how-
the yes or no. Like if it works, yes or
Right,
no. But
right.
like I was saying, math, I'm terrible at. But yeah, please carry on.
Right, on deciding what you want to do moving forward.
Yeah.
It's either what's your number, you have your set number, and you work with that person, and them having a little bit more insight of what your goal is and putting their little personality or their little touch to it and having fun along the way. Why not? Not being like the guy I had. Yeah, hi, call me when
Yeah.
you find a house, Hey, this is your pre-approval. Not just very.
Was it one of those phone calls where you just like, first, there's people that call me and I'm just like, or you're like, oh, I gotta call this person. Was it like that feeling? Like it's like so.
I gave him the chance. Like we chatted.
So
for
you
me it was a new experience. So I'm like, oh yeah, like what? This is
So
exciting.
yeah, never mind. So this is what you have no idea.
Yeah, this was exciting. But then just the way I felt his energy, I guess, and it wasn't authentic. It wasn't matched with who I was supposed to, I guess, connect with.
Yeah.
And then I guess I started my own journey. I'm like, you know what? Liz is going to teach herself.
So important. It's not always about the transaction. It's not always about for me, it's about the person. When I want to invest in real estate, yes, I want a house. I want it to generate my money. But who am I investing in?
The person behind the transaction.
100%.
And that's the same. Exactly. It's, hey, are they a good soul? Hey, do we have, not, you don't have to be 100% alike. No one's 100% alike.
No.
But hey, like, can you sense, like, are they a good person? What are they doing? Even with back to the Lizzy Loans. Like, I don't want to just force, I do loans. I have a life too.
I know what you know.
Liz Loans life. Like,
Hell yeah.
This is who I am, and you need a loan, I can help you out with that too.
But you do much more than that. We know
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
So your OCD, that's all good translation. Your OCD?
I think yeah, it could be in a positive way. My
Yes, of
OCD, I
course.
take it in a way and I spin it off to make it a positive OCD where, yeah, I have my ways of being, hey, what's my priority? Or, hey, how is this going to work and it's going to change my life or make my life better? And I think we kind of maybe both have that too, because we were just having on a side conversation.
Of course.
Hey, you want things to be perfect. And sometimes you had that mentality, you want to be a perfectionist. And then you're like, realize life's not like that. Life isn't
That word
always
doesn't exist.
perfect. you are going to get little wrenches and tests, and how you come back from it and how you make your OCD. Like, is it going to destroy my life? No. Is it going to make my life better? Heck yeah.
Are you really Are you really a mortgage banker? I mean, there's so much. There is just there's too much. What it's so cool because you're just mentioning something that you think probably most people might see as a weakness, and you've taken that weakness and said, "Well, here's the catalyst, and no, I'm going to use this weakness to my advantage. I know the way that I am. I know the way I am. See, like for me, I know my wife knows my weaknesses, and that's where she steps in. And then she kicks me directly in the ass and goes, Dan, stop it and fix it. And but it's so important to know yourself well enough. And I know myself pretty well enough where I know, hey, I don't know what I'm doing here. And I'm not going to sit here and fake it till I make it type of mentality when it comes to this type of like with investing and stuff like that. But overall in my life, yeah, and you're just mentioning something that could be like a tick or a problem, but no, I'm using that to my advantage.
Yeah.
I'm using that as a, man,
Absolutely.
yeah, totally.
I think maybe in life you kind of just find out who you are, what your, like you said, what your weaknesses are, and what your strengths are. And I think just even personally, I'm very determined. I'm very passionate with what I do. So I take something and I really go with it. And if I don't, I analyze, it's not for me, it's for me, or I just run with it. And when I said the mortgage, I said, hey, Liz, I was literally saying it to myself. Hey, I want to,
No worries.
I want to, I want to teach myself the product. So, hey, maybe one day I'll do my own loans. I won't have to call, this
Oh, you're
guy
right.
to do it.
Try to cut it out. So let's keep going with your story. So where you are today. So you took the whole study group, all that, took the test. Like, so you walk me through it. You know a little bit better than me. You know your own story better than mine.
Took the test, passed. At that time the market was horrendous.
What year was that?
That was 2021. I got licensed.
Okay.
And after COVID, when rates went down, I missed the refi boom, but everyone was jumping out. People were scared to buy. People lost their jobs.
Wow. So you got
and
in,
I got in.
Right?
I'm like, wow, what timing? I'm like, great. This is just my
This
luck.
is fucking cool.
I'm like, great, But on a down market, and I'm very grateful that not saying that, I'm glad that it happened this way, but I'm grateful that I was able to turn it into something positive and learn from it, not jump out and give up. So I stayed in it.
Question.
I learned.
Hold on I'm sorry to cut you off. Question, and not give up. Did you ever feel like you were going to give up? Was that ever in the thought process?
I thought about it, but I just navigated a different way. Hey, how am I going to make this work? This is for the long run. I'm going to use this time to be productive and have my learning curve and use the tools that I need to use the tools that I have and what I know to grow. Because if it's a good market and I have good clientele, I'm like, where's my learning curve? So I use that as my learning curve. I'm like, you know what? This is a great time to learn. And this is the lowest time to learn. And honestly, it taught me so much more than maybe even on a good market. So
you probably learned so much more getting into that market that way than you would, like you said, getting
absolutely
100%. And the reason I brought up giving up, this isn't what I try to tell everybody. You want to get inside real estate. This is a long-term play. So if you want to give up, and a lot of people give up very early, very quickly, but this is a grinding, grueling. There are just some days, and you were telling when I talked to you the other day, you're like, oh, I'm just having one of these days, Dan. I'm just like, wow, and you were just telling me, just like putting out fires, just putting out constant fires. Wow. So you just went through all that. Now we're getting closer to the future. Like, so where are you at today? Where do you see yourself? Like, what's
absolutely. So, diving in and seeing what products are out there and hearing what people are buying, how they're buying, what their financial positions are. I was dealing with more investors during the time because investors are always looking for their next deal. They weren't scared of the market. They're like, this is great. Exactly. So I wasn't really seeing a lot of first-time home buyers, which there's now more so. It is coming back. It is opening up. Is it full throttle before pre-COVID? Before COVID?
Yeah, yeah.
No, but I think we're in that direction. But the houses are being sold left and right. That's just something that's not going to stop in New York,
Everybody
in
needs a
different
home.
states, right?
Everybody needs
But
a home.
I think it's big on networking and your skill set and your knowledge. So I use that time during the low time in the market, the awful time in the
Yeah.
market, to really sharpen my pencils and
Yeah.
utilize my skill and learn and learn and learn and meet my people and connect and fall and get up and fall and get up. I moved banks a few times because
Oh,
I just
really? I
didn't
didn't know
find.
that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I was with
Who you're right now with Meadowbrook,
I'm with
correct?
Meadowbrook
Yeah,
Financial.
yep.
But before I had a couple of, I was with a broker and I didn't know what the difference between a banker and a broker is.
What is the difference?
So a mortgage broker is you have access to multiple banks, and then you place the loan which whichever bank you feel is a good product or a good program that they'll accept
Of
it.
course, a broker is ultimately going to find what is best suited for
Right.
you. What is the best bank for you? And that's
Exactly. So you're hiring them to find, they may work with 20 different banks, and then you say, hey, you know what, I'll put it with this bank. So it is more options, but
Yeah.
a mortgage banker is a bank that also can broker loans, but also does have their underwriting and their own in-house operations, and they fund their own deals. So there's a variety. So I'm the banker, but before I was on the journey of being a broker.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you still pursuing that or not?
I like the banker side because it's just more flexible.
So that's okay.
Yeah, I like having the operations in house because it's just everything's in house. You know what I mean? Like the turnaround time's better. I send an email to the processor.
Yeah, you got a whole
they
team.
get back to me.
Yeah,
right.
you're
If
not-
you have
you-
a broker, you're like second, third, fourth, and you don't know. So
There's a lot more legwork, and I think a lot of stuff can be dropped. You can lose. You can really
Right.
screw up a deal.
Right.
Wouldn't you say
Right.
that? Then when you deal with a financial institution that's
yeah,
fully
because you're not in control of the deal.
Yeah,
Like you're not.
I didn't even
hey,
think
I
about
can
that.
push.
Wow, you're
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Because I deal with both I was dealing with brokers, and now I'm just dealing with you now. It's just like I didn't even think about that. Wow.
Yeah. So I like the in-houseness. It's a little bit, I think, efficient. But listen, brokers are still doing great out there too. You can't. Not everyone could do a deal, and that's what you have to understand. That you
Of
will have to
course.
broker it out sometimes, and the
Yeah.
main thing is just getting the client to the closing table.
Awesome.
Yeah.
For like mortgage bankers, what is like one tip? What's like I know, you can think about it for a second, but what's a good tip where if you have experience that if you had to people out there that do this stuff and maybe they're just trying to get into it, or maybe they're about to take their test tomorrow, who knows? But what's one tip about that you would tell them?
Personally, or just
We're gonna do both.
okay.
Let's go.
Or
Let's do the business one, and then we gotta go to the personal one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't worry, think about it.
Okay.
It's not like you're on a podcast or anything. Don't worry.
Okay.
You got time. Because I kind of blindsided it.
Okay. So personally, I would say, well, this could kind of go both. I would say network. Network is the best thing. Like, don't be closed-minded. Meet as many people as you can because you just never know who you're talking to and what kind of service you can provide, or they might even be helpful to you in your business. So I think that covers both, maybe personal and business, because your network and, being cooped up in an office or being closed-minded and not getting out there, I think is a big mistake or a big disservice to
100%.
your business.
I did another podcast a couple days ago, and the host was a real estate agent, and then I got off the topic of my W-2 work and how I have a safety consulting company for digital media, and he goes, "Oh, you do digital media? And do you need?" And he's like, "I do digital marketing." I'm like, "What?" And I'm looking for somebody that does digital marketing, and then this guy just invited me on his podcast. I thought he was just a real estate agent. I thought he was just this one, You look at me, it's like, and you talk like, holy crap, Dan does all this. Yeah, I've done a bunch of shit, but networking, you don't know ultimately who you're talking to and what they got.
Right.
I think you should stick. I think that's the tip you stick
Yeah,
with.
I think that's gonna be for
stick
both.
with that one because
Yeah.
I think people lack that and they're like they think they could sit behind the Instagram and a computer. It
Right.
ain't gonna happen.
No, you got to get out there. You got
gotta
to have
go to the events.
conversations. Even stepping out of your comfort zone, like even doing the podcast today.
100%. We talked
I'm
about it.
not big with being on camera, but you know, for you, I said yeah because you know
She is selling herself short, and I'm sick of this shit. All right, because I spend so much time talking on the phone with her, and then yes, we talk about all the banking stuff, and then she tells me these wonderful terms and how we're gonna get there, and just how you view it, and I'm just like, yeah, like. But you have way too much to offer to be
Thanks,
just
man.
in the corner. Stop it.
So yeah, stepping out of your comfort zone.
Good, I'm glad you're here.
I'm doing
Hell
it.
yeah.
We're doing it. So
I think when
Do
you
it, guys.
when you see it, you're gonna be like, come on, Liz. Are you ready to have some fun?
anytime. That's what it's about. Lizzy Loans is fun.
No, but I'm asking you right now. You ready for my fun question?
All right. Go ahead.
For people that don't know me so well, or Liz, because I don't know if she knows where I'm going with this. Do you know where I'm going?
I think I might.
You might.
I might have
Come
a
on,
hint on the
can't.
topic. All right, go ahead,
we
go ahead.
cannot sit here and just talk about real estate. It's so fucking boring. God, shut the hell up, Dan. No. What kind of music do you listen to?
I knew where you were going. I was
Yeah.
right. I was right. So my number one choice of music is house music. Yeah.
Let's have some
I
fun right now.
love house
Let's
music.
go.
I love-
Let's go. Come on, I told you we're not. All right. So house music. We are definitely like, where the hell? Like, really, Dan? I thought this. No, I like I said, I have no plan with my podcast. I'm just shooting from the hip. House music, really? Who's your favorite artist?
So I feel like it's hard to say I have one because as I've grown into house music, it's changed. Like when I first got into house music,
When did you get into
I
it?
liked
When did you get into it?
Avicii. I liked, you know, all the mainstream. I
Wait,
can't even
who'd you
remember.
say you liked?
Avicii. I
Jen,
know.
you still got me on camera?
I know. See,
I'm an Eric Prince fan, by the way. If you're looking at this one
They're
right
so-
here, that's an Electric Zoo tattoo because that was my first.
I always found a connection to music. Like
Yeah.
it
Had
was
to show
just
everybody that.
something with music, and I was young. I was like 19, 20, 21, and I went to some festivals, and I said, wow, this is like a great feeling. Like
course.
you just dance, everybody gets along, everyone's happy, everyone's, you know, beautiful. Like, you know, just the whole setup, the vibes,
Everything.
the sound. You know, everyone's just there to have a good time.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it just gave me such a good feeling. It was almost like not therapy, but it was just like calming and fun for me, you know?
It was so for my like where I've been around for a very, and same thing with you. When did you start going? When was your first rave? When was your first? I don't say rave because people take that the wrong.
I don't know if, I don't even know when, but I did do
What
Izu.
was your first? Okay, so you
I
did
did do Izu.
But what was the first show?
See, I can't remember. I did.
Wait, what was mine?
See, exactly.
No, I know mine. No, I know mine. Mine's Dead Mouse. Mine's Dead Mouse at Roseland Ballroom, 2011.
See, I can't pinpoint the first one because there were just so many. Like I did Izu, I did EDC, I did WMC Miami.
Yeah,
you know?
Ultra.
I didn't do Ultra though. I was just in
Oh, you
WC.
just went to
yeah.
Miami Music Week. Okay.
Right. So I guess like, and that's where I just kind of like, I didn't really like get obsessed because I just was so open to exploring other music. And then I got into like, you know, different types of like house music
Well,
because you have EDM. Then you have tech house. Then you have techno. Then you have trance. Then you have
Psytrance.
Like exactly. Then there's different levels. Then you're like, oh.
People are like, where did this podcast
So-
go? But yeah, there's so many layers of
There's
dance music.
crazy.
People's like, I thought it's all the same. It's just
No.
electronic music. Absolutely not.
No, definitely not. But now I like a mix of, you know, just tropical, you know, my tech house. I like
house.
I like the techno. I like the trance too. But
Yeah.
it's just different. Like from the beginning, like from the more mainstream, and then now, and
Everybody starts out that way. Everybody
Everybody
starts as a
starts
Stevie
mainstream.
Aoki fan. Everybody
Exactly.
starts. And listen, I have Avicii attached to me, and he's not one of my favorite artists. Like I loved him. I just felt like he was such a misunderstood.
He was so talented in a deeper level that it just wasn't recognized for what it should have been. But he was able to put his music out.
I hated the fact that I knew that because I saw him at the only rave that ever happened at Radio City Music Hall. Avicii did it in 2012. Me and my wife went, and at that time she was my girlfriend. But this kid was so talented, and it sucked that it took him to pass away. That oh man, this is really how talented he was.
Right.
I hate when that.
I just recently saw the documentary, and I was like, I had no idea. I'm
like what part I'm gonna cry.
But everyone in the spotlight, sometimes they just, like you said, they're misunderstood, or they're getting caught up by the not hysteria, but the media or their managers that just kind of keep things under, and it's not.
There's right, so many. We talk about, obviously we're talking about real estate. We're talking about that, but there is these layers of that, and people don't realize what's actually going on.
People really are facing, deep down hidden things or emotions that need to be addressed, or they're just putting like go, yeah, money. Hey, are you loving it? Right. Yeah. So
that man was just supposed to just make music.
Yeah, he was definitely supposed to be like tuning and editing.
Yep,
and,
that's it.
Like teaching or just maybe even producing. I don't know, but he was really a talented, and it's just sad to see. But
But we did on a good note. It's just when I do hear his music, I do get it.
Yeah, I do have it very positive. It's very uplifting.
100%.
Yeah.
So Tech House, okay, give me an artist. I need one artist. You got to give me one artist.
All right. See, that's the thing. Like, I don't want to just
you want to single somebody out.
I don't want to highlight just the.
Don't say John Summit, please.
No, I mean, I do really enjoy his music, but I don't want to because I think there's so much underground talent.
Oh
also,
yeah, I love
because
underground.
I use SoundCloud, and some of my like
and I love John Summit, by the way.
I love David Guetta, like all the they're just not the only people that make the music, but a lot of my go-to sets and my go-to music are from people that are just doing it for fun or doing it in their basement. Or so I don't want to just say, hey, I like this person, I like that person. Like if it's a good beat and it's a good vibe and it makes me move and dance and puts me in a good mood, or I can play it, in my car at the beach at a party with friends here on the podcast, like. I when I
was driving here today, I was like, I gotta bring a speaker and just have music blasting while I'm like interchanging for the podcast and everything, because I was such in a great mood when I'm driving, because my car just go like they just said it should be off and max for my
right,
thing.
0 or full blown.
But you mentioned like the underground, so like even John Summit. I remember John Summit was nobody, and I watched his goofy videos, but he was like, I'm like, this kid's talented. And then all of a sudden, it was 3 o'clock on an Izu set, and then all of a sudden now he's playing Madison Square Garden. I'm like, I love when I find the person in the beginning, and then that's why I said John Summit, because I knew him for so much.
Before that.
I met him. Mm-hmm. Met him in the urinal of the bathroom in Miami.
Wow.
He's like, hey, I'm gonna go set.
And then look at him now.
Look at him now. It's just incredible. And I always loved even Fisher. Fisher was like, oh, it was a $20 Dirty Bird show at where was it in Queens? The Knockdown Center, and it was $20.
Yeah,
no one knew who Fisher was.
That's how they start. They play the openings, or like you said, the random 20. Like you're in your youth, you're like, I'm not spending $100. Well, which now everything is crazy.
I feel so bad of not even just EDM. I'm talking about the general music industry.
Is just crazy.
I just bought. I'm an emo kid, by the way, too. I grew up very in that aspect with very, very long hair. I should post my high school picture with my had hair like down to here.
I like when you do those flashbacks, because then you're like, wow. That was or hey, it shows personality. It shows, hey, I grown to this, to that here, and
yeah. Well,
that's I like that
of
you
course.
do that. I always comment when you post, and I'm like, Dan, that pic, or hey, that.
Well, you did the other night, like a cat just being a cat. Like I'm just goofy in that sense. But yeah, I used to be the bass guitarist in my and then in high school and marching band, and I went to go buy. I don't know if you're familiar with the band. It's called Brand New. Brand New is a very popular band for Long Island, and they are coming back, and they're going to play at the UBS Arena, and I went to go buy tickets, and I knew where to get my tickets because I know how tickets work. I've just been around, and I was going to buy 300 sections. That means like you're on the top level, but I'll buy front row of it where I'm on the glass, so I can I'm 34 now. I've been to over I've been well over to 300, 200, 300 raves. I've been over to 60 festivals on a boat overseas. Believe it or not, I actually proposed to my wife at Tomorrowland. So I've been around for a little bit, but I know how to buy my tickets, and I bought them. It was $90. Like, good, that's fair.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, let me just check the 100
Yeah.
section. $400.
Wow.
That is so unfortunate to people. Like, I was such a Taking Back Sunday, this Long Island scene guy, and I would go to like this place called the Crazy Donkey here in
Yeah, I
Farmingdale.
remember that place.
Yeah, I'll pay. Yeah,
110.
James knows what I'm talking about.
110.
James, he knows the Crazy Donkey. I used to ska music, Real Big Fish, Streetlight Manifesto. What else can I name? But I used to pay like $15, $20 a show. I used
Yeah.
Sum 41, and it's just like now I see these
Crazy.
these venues just taking full advantage.
Yeah.
And I heard about Coachella. I'm just like,
I know. I
have
saw that. It was
no
like,
desire to go there.
yeah, I saw that. I mean, it's always been like a, hey, you know, a bucket list thing. But I'm like, is it? And I know like the crowd, and I think a lot of the artists go there, and a lot of the, you know.
No, of course. Listen,
I get it. You want to keep it a certain exclusive to, hey, the clients that are there, not the clients, the crowd that's there.
So used to use
I know. I'm like, hey,
the
we're,
clients,
we're,
but
we're
no,
on,
it is
we're
essentially,
on
yeah.
fun now. We're
But
not on
yes, the
business.
crowds. But it's so unfortunate where they've taken this, where
Yeah.
they overprice these venues, and they overprice, and I feel like even the artists don't even have a chance. Like they're just their media company or whoever it is. Like, oh, this is the only way
That's
you
their
can.
set price, and that's what
Well,
and
yeah,
they just make up for it
Yeah,
because they can. But if
Yeah.
you have a good show and you have like a good setup, a good festival, and you're doing it the right way. Like you're like, I'm not gonna say, hey, how to run your show, but if you have the
of course.
right things going on and it's worthwhile spending the money. But when you go there and you're like, this is it, it's just a space, and they just put a Ferris wheel and that's it. Like, give things out, have the entertainments, have this, or give a good performance. Then it may be worth it. I don't know. I haven't been to Coachella, but maybe it is a once in a lifetime experience. People that go love it. They go repetitive. But I agree. Like, for me to do it, I guess I haven't had the real like, hey, I have to go, but at some point maybe I will. But I saw
You're
it was
going to
very.
Tomorrowland, though. I'm telling you.
I never did that either.
But I'm telling you, I'm telling
listen,
you, you
for
are
me,
going.
I feel like traveling with house music is something that I always want to do because
You have to.
you can do that and you could still see another country at the same time.
what I do.
So that's what I do. Like, even in Tulum, there was a festival going on. And I said,
sick.
hey, one day I'm going to go to a festival, and the other couple days I'm going to lay on the beach and hang out with friends and do it, just be in the sun, So house music is very,
There's just so much.
transverse. Like, you can adapt, you can take it, you go to a country, visit the house music, and still visit the country. And
So
get
how
a
about
taste of
Lindsay
it.
Tunes? Lindsay Tunes? No. I was trying to think of a good name.
You sometimes you do that. You say Lindsay, I guess, because Lindsay Lohan, maybe.
Lizzy.
You slip up sometimes
I
and
do
you say
slip
that,
up.
but it's okay.
Good. She publicly humiliated me on camera.
It's
I
all right
know.
because
Liz.
it's not a bad name. Like, it's not, but I think you're
Lindsay. No, it's not Lindsay. Liz.
Lizzy. No, I know, but sometimes
Lizzy.
you do it. It's
Lizzy.
okay. It's all right. I forgive you.
There you go. You had your moment. She got me. You know how many times I've done that? I'm just like, fuck.
Maybe a handful. It hasn't
No,
been a lot.
it's been a lot.
Handful.
It's been a
but
lot.
it's okay.
You keep correcting me.
But you will correct yourself. You'll say,
No,
Lizzy,
you got to
Lizzy.
tell me. Stop it. Stop it. I won't. We will not do business together. Is there like one? So I want to pick like. Is there like one show or memory that really was like such stuff? Like, let's say like the best one you ever been to. What is that for you?
So I would say the most recent one, because I think when I was younger, it was just so amateur. Like, it was just in a big parking lot, and it wasn't like where it was now. Like, we're talking 15 years ago. Like, we're talking 15 years to now. But I just did the festival in Tulum, Zamna Festival,
Really?
and it was like a party in the jungle. Like,
That is so cool.
And at first, I was like a little skeptical. I'm like, is this safe?
I heard about it, how you get there and everything.
Yeah, like, I'm
it's
like, is
wild.
this safe?
It's
Like,
yeah,
you have to take, you have to know, and then you're in another country, so you're already questioning, like, is there something sketchy gonna go on? Am I gonna make it out alive? And but I knew my friend had a friend that lives in Mexico,
and knew how to navigate that.
We had everything, like, he navigated it. We were safe, and everybody was, there before, years before. So it's been known, you know, it's not their first rodeo. So you want to go to a festival when somebody's already had that experience, not
Yes.
diving into it like not knowing, hey, what's going on, what's happening. So everything was safe, the whole experience, you know,
Oh,
from
it's so cool.
start to finish, like going into the walking through the little like details, you know, the setup with the lines, the security, the weather, the palm trees, the artists,
It's like not
the
one bad
setup.
nothing.
Yeah, like not one bad experience, you know, and it
Yeah.
was just a really good experience.
It's so important because I've traveled overseas to festivals and events, and it is a very different animal.
Yeah.
It could be very
The language barrier,
100%.
you know, the location,
I've been
like
to
the
one. I
sketchy
went,
things that can happen. You don't know. You're a tourist for all they know,
of
right?
course. So,
So,
well, Sicily for me is not a touristy place for me, but I'm very because I basically grew up there. But I was in Sicily and Carl Cox was playing, and Nick Fantucci was playing at a Greek ruin.
ooh.
Yeah, like Greek
Oh, I've
old.
seen those. I'm like, I gotta go
Oh,
there.
I've been
Like, I
to
want to
it.
go to the top of even. I don't even like being cold, like the winter, but I
Oh
want to
yeah,
go to the
those.
top of those mountains, like those ice, those snow
Oh yeah, I've done.
cap, like at the top,
Oh, that's
and
so cool.
just yeah, like it's the elevation or
Yeah,
the sunrise or the sunset, like that.
I wanted to be in the mountains. It sounded like.
Well, that too,
I
you
didn't know
know.
that. Though you're such a Long Island the beach
I am,
girl.
but I like the beach, but I am open to like other types of nature.
But
So,
at this show, like there is no accountability. There was a fence like the size of like how we're talking, the size of this fence, and maybe like 500 people trying to get through that fence and shoving their way
oh
through. It was
no,
insane. And then we got through, and then we're trying to even get like a beer at the time, and couldn't even get a beer. Like I got one beer, and it was like you had to wait forever for service, and then like, but then you just get there, like, and then it's just like, well, this is why they have it. This is just way too beautiful, and this is
right?
like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. It was just so. It was so incredible for me. I think I can't believe I even just mentioned that one because I think that was the most surreal one. We're in the Greek ruin, like well,
Where was that in Sicily?
in Sicily, yeah. There's a lot of Greek mythology in these
Okay.
columns, and it's just
Okay.
like the lights are just beaming against the columns, and
Wow.
these columns are about like over 50 feet tall, and it's just
What's
broken
the
down.
name of that festival?
It's not a festival. It's just
It's
a
just
show.
like an
It was a
event.
show. Oh,
Okay.
it was just a show.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And oh man, you
That's
got it. You
awesome.
got yeah.
I definitely Italy's on my top 5.
You're more than welcome
So
to come to Sicily. There's only one person that has taken me up on that offer, and that is the Wagner. All right, I would throw him out there. But yeah, you are always more than welcome. When I tell people all the time, but I tell them I am going at this time.
yeah, make it a point to
Yeah, listen, you
pop
go.
up for 5
No,
days
no, I'm
and or
serious. Go
whatever. Continue your journey.
100%.
Visit for 2 days, whatever you're, you know.
But I always love accommodating and like, I love hosting. I'm just that type of person. It's like, hang out, shoot the shit, have a good time. Yeah, you got to go to Italy.
I see your videos. You go every summer, right? Or a few times.
Yeah, we have to take a pause because I have a new job where I'm not going to be able to do what I was doing.
You'll make up for it
I
somehow.
will.
Yeah.
We're ultimately going to retire. I know what's going to happen because Alexa keeps saying, well, why can't we just move to Italy now? Yes, we can move there. And yes, it's going to be boring because people don't understand this too. I really, I am not trying to get political, but I do want to say it in this simple context. We're in America. You really can make your life into anything you want, but also the information needs to be provided, and you got to be a go-getter, and you got to shoot for it, and you can create really anything, and that's why I really do love this country in that aspect because I watched my dad create the American dream, crushed it, and now I'm my job, not my job, but like I'm obviously going to be doing better than him, and then I expect my son has got to do better than me. But ultimately, it's like you can do it here, but there you can't. You really can't. You're very limited in Italy, and it's like
Is it the laws or is it just like
it's just even the unemployment rate is like it's through the roof. There's not the
just a different lifestyle, different culture,
yeah.
like
They're
different way
very
they're
mellow.
set
They're
up?
very relaxed. You wake up at 8, go to work, and then you get to work. Oh, it's 12 o'clock. You got to go back home, eat lunch with your family. Then it's siesta. You take a nap. Everything shuts down. But and that's the beauty behind it too. It's like that's their culture and they love it. And like my dad's brother, just like, yeah, I'm staying in Sicily, and he's the most happiest motherfucker alive. My uncle Aldo, and you will meet this man. Doesn't speak a word of English, and you'll have the best time with this individual. He's just this big guy. I have to say it that way, and he's shoving food down your throat. He's like going to the pool, like it's like but it's so incredible, but. what I was trying to get at is like the American, like being here in America, you really have the capabilities to make a brand, make a business, come up with creative ideas, start a podcast. Not to say you can't do it there, you can, but it's more accessible. The tools are right in front of you.
Totally.
You got to network, right?
Exactly.
You got to
you have a lot of
network.
opportunities here, and if you have it in you, like how we both do, then
Yeah.
you're just gonna find it and you're gonna make something out of it.
100%, 100%. I think
I think we got a lot of good stuff.
we did.
We got a lot of good stuff. James, do you?
Oh no, I'm going to sign us off.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I'm going to give you. You're going to plug yourself in and all that stuff. I know.
Fixing the
I'm
hair.
sorry for calling you Lindsay.
It's okay.
No,
it's
got
all right.
goddamn.
Don't worry. We don't have to put that out there.
No, put it out there.
We don't have to put
Do
it
it
out there,
live.
James. You could send the rough draft, and but you
She's
really
gonna
don't.
approve it.
We
I'll
don't
give her.
have to.
She has
All
full
right.
approval. But anyway, well, let's sign off.
Okay.
Well, Liz, I had to make sure I said it right. Liz, thank you so much for being a part of my show. I think you are incredible. I think you have such incredible talents. I think I do believe you undersell yourself sometimes. But if you're looking for somebody to really hone in with, your banking, and you're looking for those investment properties, she will help you understand and educate you. But I'm going to let her sign herself off. But thank you so much, Liz. Give us a closing statement.
Dan, thank you so much for having me and
Of course.
inviting me. And it's been fun. It's been better, better experience that I've had just in general with being on a podcast. So thank you for that. Yeah. I am on Instagram, Lizzy_Loans. I'm on Facebook. If you need a loan, feel free to reach out. Definitely have access to a lot of loan products and creative financing. Thank you so much, Dan.
Thank you for tuning the podcast. I'm going to put all her information in the bio below. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Peace.